Now, some people have said in this country now we have a politics of rights, mostly a post-World War II phenomenon. Now, clearly, we've had people talk about rights in this country before, talk about the Bill of Rights from the 1790s. We had the abolitionist movement trying to end slavery, the suffragette movement trying to win the right to vote for women. But in the post-World War II era, there seems to be a real emphasis on rights. Think of the civil rights movement, the women's rights movement, the environmental movement, right to die movement. Abortion is talked about in rights. People who are disabled have a rights movement, and the like. Indeed, in the late 1980s, over 40% of Americans said they thought there was a constitutional right to adequate health care. Make sure you know there's not one, at least as of yet. Now, this may lead you to say, individual rights are great. I love them. I get to do what I want. But are there any problems? Does an emphasis on individual rights create some costs, in some way diminish our life? Well, let's think of some examples. What about when an individual right conflicts with another right? Take hate speech. The speaker may say, I have a right to say what I feel about people. But the person to whom that speech is addressed may say, I have a right to live my life without fear, with dignity and self-respect. They clash. Take another one, perhaps not as emotionally moving, but maybe important. People have a right, candidates running for office, to spend as much money as they want to communicate their ideas. But what happens if they're spending so much money that they drown out everybody else? No other voices are heard. This may raise issues of fairness and equality in the democratic process, a clash of rights. Indeed, is society nothing but a grouping, an aggregation of individuals? This suggests a tension between your right to do what you want and the collective good, the needs of all of us. You know, other countries don't have so much of an emphasis on rights. Japan might be the best example that we all know about. Much more emphasis on the collective good. Another example may surprise you. It's Australia. I lived in Australia for a year. And while I was there was this horrible gun massacre in Port Arthur in the state of Tasmania. Some person opened up with a semi-automatic rifle and killed a couple dozen people. And in the response, the Prime Minister went around the country trying to win support for national gun control. And he went out to the rural areas where there are a lot of farmers who claimed they needed guns to keep wild animals, mostly in this case kangaroos, from trampling and eating their crops. And he made the following argument. He said, I know you want guns, and I know they're important to you. But you're part of the Australian community. And being part of a community sometimes means giving up what you want for the greater good. And he appealed to them on that level, and Australia did adopt stricter gun control laws. Now, it seems to me in the United States, because of our emphasis on individualism, that appeal to what's good for the majority of people is a harder one to make. Now, with gun control, you may disagree about whether that's for the common good or not, but there may be other issues where it is important. And I wonder, and perhaps you might too, that as much as we love individualism, if sometimes our emphasis on it makes it harder to make decisions that benefit everyone.